Hello, all. Apologies for keeping you waiting, but now we're here, and I'd like to welcome you all to the official launch of the 2025 Global Retirement Report, brought to you by Global Citizen Solutions. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Josani Campos, and I will be your host for today's special live event. And here we are looking forward to explore the future of retirement through the lens of global mobility, investment migration, and quality of life. So this year, the Global Retirement Report evaluated 44 passive income visa programs, of course, across 44 countries. And the report offer data-driven insights into the best destinations for those planning to retire abroad. I have a tiny spoiler alert here for you. Portugal, Mauritius, and Spain leads the way, but opportunities span the globe, with the Americas and Europe setting the pace. Today, we are joined by an exceptional panel of thought leaders, researchers, and migration experts to help us unpack the findings and implications of this landmark report by Global Citizen Solutions. So let me introduce you to our contributors. They're right here with me. We have Inés Calzada. She is an associate professor at the Complutense University of Madrid and is renowned for her work on welfare and aging across Europe. We also got Esma Betül Savaş, also a recent PhD graduate and researcher examining the social consequences of retirement migration and the green transition. We have Mike Swiganski, best-selling author of Global Career, TED speaker, and a seasoned digital nomad who has traveled to over 100 countries while building location-independent businesses. We also have Adalberto Puca. He's head of sales and business development here at Global Citizen Solutions, known by many simply as Puca. And he's a trusted advisor in global residency and citizenship by investment. Now roll the drums. We have also Dr. Laura Madrid-Sartoreto, our Global Intelligence Unit lead, migration law expert, and a project strategist with a deep expertise in data and international mobility. And that's it. So we'd like to invite you all to share your thoughts, questions, and reflections. So feel free to jot down all your comments in the chat through the session. And let's begin. So I'm going to start with Laura. Hi, Laura.
Hello, thanks for the introduction, and thank you for having me here again.
You're welcome. Laura, since we had a little delay here with the start, I will jump straight into the launch of the Global Retirement Report. So you compiled a very comprehensive analysis, and I'd like to ask you, what do you see as the most significant takeaways or trends for retirees considering a move abroad today?
So as you know, Jason, last year we published a report that focused on 18 destinations of retirement, and we focused our report on the American diaspora. But this year we realized that this trend is growing. Actually, international retirement migration is evolving rapidly. So we decided to broaden our approach. We, as you said in the beginning of the live, we evaluated 44 visa pathways in 44 destinations, and we focus our analysis on passive income or non-lucrative visas or retiree visas, as we call this kind of migration pathways. Of course, we know that retirees sometimes they use other migration strategies. Some of them will use golden visas or RCBI programs when they want to retire, and even like leveraging dual citizenship through ancestry. People use this strategy to move abroad when they are retiring. But our report is focused on 44 countries that offer passive income or non-lucrative visas. Our methodology is comprehensive. We collected 20 indicators for each destination, and we group these indicators in 5 sub-indexes. So we have procedures, citizenship and mobility, quality of life, economics, tax optimization, and safety and integration as sub-indexes. And then combining all these indicators, we came across this overall index for best countries to retire. We focus our analysis on the legislation of the countries, on quality of life, safety and integration indicators, and usually we collect data from publicly available data. Before jumping into the takeaways, I just wanted to say that from our clients' experience and also from research, we identified some main motivations for people to retire abroad. So, of course, people will seek to enhance their quality of life. Some people would look for more cost-effective destinations because of economic constraints when they are in retirement. Other people will look for tax optimization, family reunification, and more recently, we see that people want to move because of political dissatisfaction in their home countries. Sometimes this is also an element that will be factored when people decide to retire abroad and even deciding the destination country. We understand that this is all like very deeply personal decisions, and each family or each person, each individual will combine those motivations when deciding to retire abroad. But we identify this set of motivations for people that decide to retire abroad. So let's just jump to the takeaways and the numbers, and I need some support here. We start with number 1. We identified that international retirement migration is more like mainstream and diversifying lately. 70% of the programs were created in the aftermath of the early 2000s. So we see that countries are more and more offering this migration pathway. The second, and then we see that Americas account for 36% of the programs, and followed by Europe that offered 32% of the programs we identified. But this trend is also growing really fast in Asia and Africa, and we mentioned some programs in Asia and Africa as well. Again, quality of life and healthcare are top priorities for people that decide to retire abroad. And we identified that over 70% of the countries that offer this immigration pathways, they score above average in healthcare, environmental quality, and overall well-being. Southern Europe and Western Europe, they lead the way, with countries like Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, Austria. But we have also strong competitors or strong options in the Americas, in countries like Uruguay, Chile, and also in Asia, in Thailand and Indonesia. Most of the countries will offer clear pathways to permanent residency and citizenship, and the possibility of the individual that apply for citizenship to maintain their citizenship of origin. So countries allow dual nationality. 93% of the countries in our ranking will offer a path to permanent residency and then to citizenship. And nearly all countries will allow dual citizenship. So you don't need to renounce your citizenship of origin when you apply for a second citizenship in those countries. And about half of the countries or the programs we analyze, they offer a pathway for citizenship in just 5 years or less of residency, especially in Europe and in Latin America, that are the countries that are more generous in offering a pathway to citizenship. 92% of the countries we analyze also will allow for retirees to bring their children. So family reunification is a very important aspect of those programs. And more than a third, 76%, we all allow applicants to bring also their parents.
This is a very comprehensive report, Laura. I'm really sorry I interrupted you. It's just because I really want to carry on speaking to you. I want to bring you back at the end because
Sure.
I think you are unpacking really valuable data here. Super important to understand the motives that you analyze healthcare as well. And I'm going to explore it with our other speakers. So let's move on to Savaş, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. So lovely to have you here. So thank you for your contribution and your I just want to address our viewers here. They're asking where they can have a look at the Global Retirement Report. So it is available at Global Citizen Solutions website, and our production team will share the link here. And Esma, Betül, Savaş, in partnership with USPAN, provided a beautiful essay on the motives behind international migration after retirement, focused on the Dutch case. So, hang on, Esma. I was just looking at, there are some data here really interesting, but we aren't running out of time. So I'm just going to go straight to the question. What does the wide range of retirement destinations chosen by the Dutch retirees tell us about the benefits of global mobility later in life?
Thank you. So already, Laura already tapped into some very interesting things that I will also mention here. In our research, we surveyed 6,000 Dutch retirement migrants who resided in 40 different destination countries. So it's indeed a lot of different places that people go to. And I think that the wide range of retirement destinations chosen by the Dutch retirees show that people might be looking for a mix of things when they move abroad. And the reasons retirees move abroad often reveal the benefits that they expect from moving abroad. So for the Dutch retirement migrants, the reasons for moving abroad were better weather. I don't know if you know, but the Netherlands is quite a rainy country. So better weather was almost 80% of the people said that this was a motive for migration. Tranquility, because it is such a densely populated country, so people want more tranquility. Culture in the destination, culture and the people, more financial security, new social connections, as well as just simply a chance to start over. So there are different benefits that we can see from global mobility here. And different places offer different mixture of amenities. So, for example, for Dutch retirement migrants, Southern Europe attracts a lot of individuals looking for better weather, whereas France and Sweden attracted individuals who were looking for space and tranquility. And Turkey, for example, attracted people who were moving for more health reasons.
Thank you, Esma. I think you also addressed one question that I was going to ask you. If we could widen these findings to other retirement migrants of different nationalities, but you also mentioned the Swedes here. So then let's jump to the next question. What benefits does international retirement migration brings to local cultures, economies, and communities?
There can be many benefits that international retirement migrants bring to the local cultures and economies and communities. For example, we found in our research that many Dutch retirees build good relationships with locals and have frequent interactions both with people from the destination and with other fellow migrants in the destination, which adds to of course, the community's social lives, makes it more lively, and it creates opportunities for cultural exchange and new friendships. And of course, retirees can also boost the local economy. Their spending supports local shops, restaurants, as you can imagine, but they often invest in property as well. And in addition to this direct relationship, once retirees move abroad, they get their friends and family visiting them abroad as well. So this friends and family tourism comes to the area that also then boosts the economy. And in some cases, of course, they can create more jobs by driving demand for services tailored to retirees, like healthcare, more leisure things, and home maintenance. So there are definitely benefits that retirement migrants can bring to the local community.
Esma, thank you very much. And if you're all watching us and would like to read her essay, which is part of the the Global Retirement Report, it is available here. And it's very interesting. I totally recommend you all to read it, with unpacking also extra data for you. And I can see, I'm reading from the comments here, a lot of people are researching and in the stage of researching for this later stage of their life. So this report is gold for you, it's treasure. You will find a lot of information there. So now we covered Netherlands, and I'd like to speak to Inés Calzada about the Spain case. Inés also provided an essay on the international retirement migration and welfare provision under the case of Spain. So Inés, hi.
Hello. Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Nice to have you here. So I'd like to ask you, your essay was about the Spanish case, but apart from Spain, in what ways does international retirement migration strengthen social integration among European countries?
Well, I mean, I think that the movement of people between European countries is really the foundation of European identity, because the European Union started as a political decision, as a political project. But now, many people feel European in European countries. And I think this is because over the past 30 years, we have seen millions of people relocating to a different European country. So for sure, I think international retirement migration is key for European integration. Because if you think, oh, I don't want to have the cold weather this winter, I would like to spend like 3 months or 6 months or the full year in Malaga or in the Mediterranean. And if you're a European citizen, you can do it very easily with hardly any administrative procedures. And then you feel European citizenship, you feel European. So yeah, I believe that retirement migration within Europe promotes European integration from the bottom up, like by creating European identity. So I think it's, in general, is quite positive.
Thanks, Inés. And I'd like to bring one comment from Esma to mention that friends and family tourism are also important to boost the local economy, but it also works as a way to integrate those European countries. Now, I'm going to change the focus a little bit, and which I think it's a very important case when we talk about Spain and other Southern European countries. I want to talk about healthcare. So what would you tell me about the effect of this retirement migration, about the effect the retirement migration can have on the local health care system? And and maybe you could also tell us how private supplementary healthcare can play a role in this dynamic.
Yeah. Okay. If you are an European citizen, then you have the right to receive basic healthcare provision in any other European country if you are there as a visitor. And if you register as resident, then you have access to full healthcare coverage. European countries have a system to compensate the extra cost of healthcare systems in Mediterranean countries or in the countries that have more visitors or more residents. So it's not really a problem for systems, for healthcare systems. At the individual level, many retirement migrants in Spain and in Portugal use public healthcare, but also many have complementary private insurance. And this is because of various things. On the other hand, I mean, first, part of the retirement migration is seasonal. They don't stay all year round. It's only like half of the year. And then they are in Spain or Portugal as a visitors, and they only have the right to receive basic health care. So to buy private insurance is quite useful, because otherwise you have to go back to your native country if you need treatment or you need something else apart from emergency care. Also, many of the retirement migrants don't register as residents from the start. Like they spend 1 or 2 years officially being residents in their native country because they want to give it a try to the adventure, like to be able to go back to their native country if they are not comfortable. So in those cases, also they buy private insurance. It's really kind of convenient. But even many of permanent migrants, Europeans that are officially registered as living in Spain or in Portugal, they buy private healthcare because in the destination areas you can find many private hospitals, many healthcare professionals oriented to this market. I mean, you will have Swedish hospitals and German doctors and like a plethora of professionals that will give you healthcare not only with a good quality like the public healthcare system, but in your language, with your norms, according to your own culture of care, to your social norms. And this is quite important for many retirement migrants. So in general, the impact of retirement migration on local public healthcare is not very strong because of the compensation systems between European countries and because many refugees buy some sort of private health insurance. And of course, if you are not an European citizen, you are required. It's compulsory to buy it.
Thanks, Inés. That's great. There's also the option of combination between the public and public health insurance. Very good. Thank you. So if you'd like to know more about the Spain case, please have a look at the Global Retirement Report. Right now, I'm going to move on to Mike. Mike is very busy in the chat here. Everyone is asking, can I have some tips about Thailand and so on? So, yeah, really looking forward to speak to you, Mike. Can you give us an overview of your nomad strategy and explain how it can benefit individuals interested in early retirement?
Yeah, so appreciate all the great questions in the chat, everyone. And I just want to give a bit of insight and background. So I've been living overseas for over 15 years now in more than 100 countries. And what I want to say is retirement visas can be an awesome way to get abroad, but there's a lot of other things to consider And there's a lot of other options out there. In certain countries, in certain situations, yes, the retirement visa is probably the best option. But if you have a destination in mind and you actually have the will, there's going to be a lot of other alternatives now. There's so many options with digital nomad visas, the retirement visas, student visas, just, you know, starting a business abroad visa. There's a lot of options. So if you don't see a retirement visa that's a good fit for you, look and expand your search. There's probably other options to allow you to go abroad. And, you know, living overseas in 100 different countries, I'm currently based in Thailand. And what I've developed is essentially the NOMAD acronym. And so this is what I've used to consider whenever I'm looking to move to a new hub. What do I look into and what do I look for in that hub? And so the N in NOMAD stands for network and community. So this can be a really important thing when you're moving abroad. Where you're living at now, you probably have family, friends, you know, some sort of extensive network. But if you're moving abroad, that's going to be starting from scratch. So even if you have one or two friends already in another city or another country, that can really expedite your process as to going somewhere where you literally know nobody. So the network and community is one of the most important things. And I suggest starting there. And if you're going to be spending, you know, some time overseas, I always suggest go spend a month or two there first, see how you like it, and then commit to going full overseas, living abroad, test the waters, because a lot of places that I've been to over the years, I've loved traveling there, but they don't really check my list for this NOMAD acronym. And so it's great for traveling, great for tourists, but living there, I don't think would be as enjoyable. And so the second thing that I consider, and probably one of the most important things, is the opportunity for geo arbitrage. So one of the best things about living overseas, and this can be as simple as working in New York City in Wall Street and then living upstate New York where it's way cheaper. So you're getting the income of Wall Street, but you're only having to pay expenses of living upstate. But this can be really expanded if you're moving overseas to a place like Thailand, where majority of my businesses are US based, but I'm able to spend in the local currency. And so again, this geo arbitrage can be powerful in a lot of ways because it can improve your quality of life. It can provide you an earlier retirement, and it can also allow you additional extra savings to invest into traveling or just invest into other parts, into my business, into investments, other things like that. So that's why this geo arbitrage is such an important thing. It can be the fastest way to retire 10 years earlier just by moving overseas, where you don't have to diminish your quality of life. And a lot of times your quality of life can go up, but your cost per month can go down. So that's the other thing. And then in the M in NOMAD is the mobility and long-term visas. This is going to be the thing that allows you to stay longer. And so one of the reasons I moved to Thailand is they came out with a DTV visa, Destination Thailand Visa. This allowed myself and my fiance, we were able to apply for this online. We were both approved in under 2 weeks. And it gives you the ability to stay in Thailand for 5 years at a time. And it costs under $500. So it's very impressive. And there's visas like this popping up all the time. So that's why it's so important to always be talking and researching. And so the last few steps here are the amenities and safety in the NOMAD. And again, I've lived in some dangerous places around the world. And when you think about it, when you're there as a tourist, it's not that bad. You think about it, 2 weeks out of 52, your odds of encountering something are way lower. But if you're living there and you're talking to locals and people who've lived there, and each one of them's had some safety concerns, then it becomes a real issue. So considering the safety and the, you know, the amenities that a destination includes are really important. So that's something to include or to consider when you're considering your destination abroad. And then last but not least, a desirable climate. So if you like the cold, that's great. There's great places for that. I prefer warmth, and that's why I live on a tropical island here in Koh Samui, Thailand. And so that's kind of the final thoughts. And I'll leave you with this, that there's a lot of amazing destinations out there, but having a hub abroad has been able to allow me to live the life that I've always dreamt of. And it can be something that can be extremely powerful for people. And I just got an email today of somebody who, they read my book, they moved overseas to Australia, and they went from living in New York to Australia, and just changing their environment completely changed their life for the better. And it's just one of those powerful things that just moving abroad to the right location, having the right structure, can really improve your lifestyle. So that's all I've got to add, unless you have any follow-up questions. But I appreciate everyone, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Mike. That was Mike Swiganski. Very effective. Very good to interview you, because you answered the questions before I even asked you. Actually, everyone did the same, so that was great, guys. It's really good to have an individual, personal perspective, and you're able to provide that to us. Also, that a perspective that defies the old-fashioned concept of retirement. Some retirement are basically an opportunity for reinvention of your career and so on, and you cover that beautifully. And you also mentioned the concept of geo arbitrage, which is essentially making your budget stretch a bit further. So everything is available at Mike's essay that was published in the Global Retirement Report. I love Koh Samui, one of my favorite places in the world. So very, very jealous of you. Right now, I will jump on and moving on and speak to Adalberto Porca. And Porca, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks for the invite.
Good, good. Always good to have you here. So as I said, spoiler alert here, Portugal is among the top 5 in the ranking, but I won't tell you which position right now. We'll leave this all for Laura to announce at the end. But since Portugal is quite up high in the ranking, I want to ask you how does Portugal's combination of low living costs and high quality healthcare and the passive income visa they have there, which is a D7, how all these factors contribute to its growing popularity as a retirement destination?
Right. So I think, you mentioned a few factors already. So naturally, the quality of healthcare, cost of living in Portugal can be seen as more attractive than a few other European destinations. Although it does ultimately come down to personal choice. As Mike said, people travel to the country, they get to know it a little bit better, and ultimately decide to move there. But there are a few other factors that Portugal offers some elements of lifestyle there that make the D7 very appealing. So firstly, the D7 is a residence permit for Portugal. It falls under the category of a passive income visa. So similar to Spain's non-lucrative visa, it's a visa elective visa. Greece has what they call the financially independent person visa. But Portugal's one is quite unique in the sense that, one, it's quite accessible. So to obtain a D7 visa, the amount of passive income requirement is not as high as it would be in Spain. So it falls just under 900 euros per month for the main applicant. It increases with family size, as does all the others. But ultimately, the low, the low threshold does make it very appealing. And then you combine that with other factors in Portugal. But staying with the residency permit for now, a residency permit in a European country does allow for Schengen travel, especially if that country is in the Schengen, as is the case with Portugal. It doesn't allow for you to reside in other countries, but what does is if one obtains citizenship in a European country. So the D7 offers a very interesting path to citizenship. Currently, it takes 5 years to apply for citizenship in Portugal, although this may potentially increase in the future. But again, the low barrier and the accessibility to an eventual citizenship make it very, very attractive. And then we can look at other factors in Portugal, such as safety. Portugal is renowned for being one of the safest countries in Europe. You know, the climate, natural beauty rivals that of, you know, the neighboring Mediterranean countries. And then we can also look at infrastructure connectivity, which in Portugal is becoming much more in line with what one would expect in European countries. Access to, you know, the Algarve is fairly easy from Lisbon to the, you know, the Silver Coast. You can generally get around the country very easily. And then the expat community in Portugal is also very active. So whenever, you know, we assist clients moving to Portugal, they, you know, they ask us, you know, how can we reach out to, you know, to other expats? And there are, you know, quite a few different options out there. Everyone's very welcoming. So they, you know, they give you tips, places to go, clubs to join, you know, things to do, which is usually very appreciated. But there is also one other element with Portugal, particularly for individuals that come from English-speaking countries, which is the fact that Portugal speaks English very well, especially around the main cities, so Lisbon, Porto, the Algarve region. You know, it'll be hard for you to bump onto someone who doesn't speak English to at least some degree. And it makes adapting to the country significantly easier as well.
Thanks, Booker. This is great. And yes, I can testify to that. The English proficiency in Portugal is quite remarkable. And yeah, so you're able to get public services lines dedicated in English as well. So that's really good, very helpful. Now, I'd like to move on and ask you, there is a concept that you often talk about, which is the Plan B. And I want to ask you, which countries do retirees generally prefer as a Plan B?
Right. So the concept of you know, Plan B has been one that has played quite a bit in, you know, in people's minds, especially in the recent years. So, you know, because of geopolitical events, you know, different political perspectives and rise of different regimes around the world, and, you know, other reasons as well, environmental ones, you know, they do lead people to look for alternatives out there. Often a Plan B includes residency, but also citizenship. We work with both, you know, passive income visas, but there has been a rise of digital nomadism, as well as golden visas. And golden visas are what we call residency by investment programs. Portugal has a very popular golden visa program, particularly popular because it leads to citizenship flexibly, meaning you don't necessarily need to live in the country in order to become a citizen eventually. But there are some other countries that are quite popular out there, Malta being one of those, Greece, Spain recently eliminated its golden visa program, but also has digital nomad visas. It has the non-lucrative visa. Italy, we've seen a huge increase over the past 6 months, particularly for their golden visa program, but also the elective visa. So we're helping a lot of clients, particularly, let's say, American clients, to explore the Italian programs. But when we think about a Plan B, we often make a bespoke program around the individual that we're assisting at the time. So we look at you know, income. We look at how much flexibility they have in terms of time spent in country, and several other factors, including, you know, family size, including whether eventually they need access to healthcare. So all of those things come into play. But a Plan B just allows someone to feel a little bit more secure in knowing that if something went you know, a different way than expected, they can get on a plane, they can move to a country that aligns with their views, aligns with their lifestyle choices, and their opinions, and ultimately they can do so quite easily.
Thank you, Puka. So yeah, then I think it's all, the bottom line is you need to know what the clients need and what the dream is. And there are many different options to make this dream come true. So it's not only the passive income visa, it's not only the golden visa, it could be a digital nomad visa. There are many other options available. So right now, I want, because we've been speaking for about 40 minutes, there are some very good questions here. I want to ask Laura to give me the ranking of the 10 best retirement destinations by the Global Retirement Report.
Okay, Giselle, I will do that. But first, I just want to highlight what Mike and Puka were saying about other options for retirees if they don't want or cannot apply for retirement visas or passive income visas. We see more and more people, for instance, doing what we call part-time retirement. And usually people use either a golden visa option or a digital nomad visa to partially retire and keep working part-time. So you can use those alternatives as well. And we have a lot of information about this kind of programs as well in our website. We have a residency and citizenship by investment report and a digital nomad report with best destinations for people that want to apply for those visas as well. So let's start from the position number 10. In the retirement index, we have Chile in South America, and it's especially due to the quality of life. And Chile is one of the safest countries in Latin America. It gives a relatively straightforward pathway to permanent residency and citizenship. Then in Europe, we have Latvia is number 9. Malta is number 8, and Puka was talking a bit about Malta and the tax benefits that Malta offer for people that want to retire in the country. 7th position, we have Slovenia. Again, Schengen access, quality of life. It's relatively more cost effective than other countries in Europe. Then we have Italy, and Puka highlighted that Italy is a very good option for people that want to retire in Europe, but don't want to go to Portugal or Spain. Italy offer a flat tax of 7% in some regions in the south. So you get tax benefits in Italy. The healthcare is robust, and it also have this combination of reliable public healthcare system and affordable private insurance. Then in the 5th position, we have Austria. The quality of life is great, and it's among the safest country in the world. 4th position, we have Uruguay again. It's a good option if you want to get some tax benefits. Uruguay is a territorial taxation system, so pensions will not be taxed if you live in Uruguay, if they are sourced abroad, of course. In the 3rd position, we have Spain. 2nd, we have Mauritius. Again, for tax optimization, Mauritius is a very friendly jurisdiction. Quality of life and safety are also granted in the island. And in the 1st position, we have Portugal, especially because Portugal, as Puka said, offer this straightforward pathway to citizenship. We know that the legislations are under scrutiny in Portugal, and the country is talking about making the legislation more strict for people that want to acquire citizenship, but it's still it's a 5-year path to citizenship. Portugal is one of the safest countries in Europe, and it's an excellent hub for cultural and cultural environment. You have also good weather and other great features in Portugal. Again, it's a country where English is widely spoken, and you have expats communities that are very active. So Portugal is number 1. in our retirement report. And if you want to know more about, other countries, other programs, you can just go and browse our retirement report that is now live in our webpage.
Brilliant. Thank you, Laura. We are pressed for time, but there are some amazing questions here. I really would like to answer as many as we can. So we are going to group some together, and let me see if some of you are able to answer. So let's talk about, there's a very interesting one here. Perhaps Pulka will be able to answer. Spain's non-lucrative visa. Is it possible to apply from India?
Right. So to apply for the non-lucrative visa in Spain, you can only apply from a country of citizenship or residency. So you can't actually apply in country. You have to apply from your place of residence. Yes, it's possible to apply from India. So, scheduling an appointment with the consulate, that's something that our team would do in assisting our clients in the process. But it's indeed possible.
Great, thank you. Sorry, I'm cutting you short here, but it's, time. I want to focus on D7 because there are lots of interesting questions here. And most of them are about elaborating the D7 visa. D7 is the visa, the passive income visa from Portugal, in case you missed that part here on our conversation. So the expectation from Portugal immigration is to commit to a 12-month lease. What if I only want to commit to a 6-month lease and return 6 months later? Is that possible? Pulka, I think it's another one for you.
Yeah, I think I can jump in here. No, so there are additional requirements. So, it's a topic that requires, I'd say, a webinar of its own. But one of the requirements of the D7 visa is to have a long-term lease, meaning at least a 12-month lease. And it's also important to say that in order to maintain a D7, meaning you'd renew it beyond the 2 years that it is initially valid for, you need to reside in Portugal for at least 8 months a year. So you can only leave the country for a quarter of the year within those 2 years.
Thank you. Let me see if I can get another question here. So there's feedback, a very interesting one. Hang on, I'll read that one later. Let's go here. Greece. That one, I think, is for Laura. Greece didn't make the list. Wondering why. Can you address?
Yes, actually, Greece is in the 12th position, I think. Let me just check here because I have, And as we developed the indicators and we gave weights to the motivations. Of course, there are some countries that cannot make the top 10, but they are still very good destinations for retirement. So it's not that Greece is not a very good destination for retirement, but maybe like Portugal scores higher in English proficiency or safety, and Italy will score higher in other aspects, Spain in other criteria. So that's why Greece didn't make the top 10, but it's still a very good option when you want to retire in Europe.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Laura. I can see there are some specialists here in our chat. Some, I don't know, they're not from Global Citizen Solutions. So always good to check with us first, okay? We have some questions about the nationality law. In Portugal, it has not changed, but the person who will speak about it more in more depth is Adalberto Pulka. Can you give us like a little bit of information on that, Pulka? Super quick.
Yes. Of course. So this was a proposal put forward by the Portuguese government very recently. It looks like there is some level of support, although the nationality law has been pushed till after the summer. So that's going to be discussed in September. The legislation has not changed. The process continues the same so far, although we will keep everyone up to date when and if a change occurs.
Thank you very much. So stay tuned. for information on that. And is there anything here? I think our speakers are also looking at those questions. I don't know if Inés, Mike, Esma, if there's any question here that you would like to address particularly. We have basically less than a minute. If you want to, is there anything here? If not, more than happy to forward some of those questions to you. All good? Yeah? Okay, so I think it's time to wrap up. And I'd like to thank, on behalf of Global Citizen Solutions, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. And also thank you to our amazing contributors for sharing their insights. And I'd also like to add, whether you are advising clients or planning your own retirement or simply exploring possibilities, I really hope that this report helps guide your next steps with clarity and confidence. So I'll see you next time, and thank you very much.